Just started 3 seconds ago to the Chabur.
Oh, the guys are on?
I sent out a link to the Chabur. Nobody's on. I just started 9 seconds ago.
Because Mo wants to be on. On my
Yeah,
side.
it kicked in. Remember I asked everybody to follow me? It kicked in and now it works.
Yesterday, so hopefully, Mo should see this. Mo should see it. He should come on soon.
Tell Mo to put it on.
Yesterday, Rabbi Isai, we discussed a raya to Rabbi Yochanan. When the Gemara wanted to bring one, Rabbi Isai, let's jump right in. A few lines from the bottom. Rabbi Isai, a few lines from the bottom. We want to bring a raya to Rabbi Yochanan. A raya to Rabbi Yochanan. You ready? You ready, Rabbi Isai? A raya to Rabbi Yochanan. That you make a shechianu on the a raya to Rabbi Yochanan. That you make a shechianu on the 8th day of Sukkot. What was that raya? You ready, Chevra? Hold on, Rabbi Isai, stay with me here. Lema Misayele on the bottom of Mem Zayin Amar Aleph. I'm reading it quickly. Let's bring a raya that you make a shechianu on the 8th day. Ha-parim, ha-elim, va-kvasim. The Rabbanan say that it says that the parim, the elim, va-kvasim, akven zedzeh, means each one is crucial to bring the rest. You need each one. Each one is ma'akev the others. You need all of them. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, parim ein ma'akven zedzeh. The parim, the cows, are not crucial. The cows are not ma'akev. Why? Shari mismat and holchet. Anyhow, the cows go down every day. Yesterday we brought on the chart. Every day they lower the number of cows. So in as much as every day they lower the number of cows, so you see the term is not makban on the number. So if you're missing cows on a day when you're supposed to have 8 and you have only 6, it's okay. Amru loy. So that's what Yehuda says. Yehuda says everything else is ma'akiv, not the cows. Amru loy, the Rabbanan says, wait, if that's your reasoning, v'alei kula mismad and holchem mishmini. All of the other ones, the rams and the sheep, also get diminished on the 8th day. On the 8th day, the rams go from 2 to 1. The sheep go from 14 to 7. So very nice that the if you're telling me that the cows go diminish every day, and that's the reason why the number is not important. Neither should the number of rams or sheep, because on the 8th day the rams and sheep also decrease. Amar lehen. Rabbi Yehuda responded, that's not a question. Shmini, the 8th day regal b'fnei atzmahu. The 8th day is its own Yom Tif. So therefore, don't ask me anything from the 8th day. Why? Shekeshem. So just as Sheshiva Semiachag, Tu'un Carbon Vashir, just as the 7 days of Yom Tif need a carbon. Carbon means they own unique carbon. Vashir, they need their own song. Ubracha, and they need bracha. Velina, and they also need lina. Av Shemini, so to the 8th day, Ton, Carbon, Shir, Bracha, Lina. Lina is sleeping over. So to the 8th day also needs sleeping over. So you see that the 8th day is its own, So you see, So you want to say the 8th day is its own Yom Tif. We haven't yet concluded the raya. The whole raya was that what? That you make a shechianu on the 8th day. So now the Gemara analyzes it. We said that just as the 7 days of Yom Tif you make bracha, so to the 8th day you make bracha. My lav.
But what do we say in the 8th day?
No,
meaning
Yom Shmini Etzeres.
No, we don't say, which one? So what do we say?
We have the kabbalas. The kabbalas are diminished. That's what we're saying. So my lav is bracha not referring to my lav's man? Is bracha not referring to shechianu? This Rabbi says the kasha. This is the raya. My lav's man, isn't bracha referring to shechianu? It says that the 7 days of Yom Tov have bracha, and the 8th day has its own as bracha. Ooh, what does that mean? It must mean shechianu. You see clearly the 8th day you make a new shechianu. The Gemara says loi birchas hamazon utfilah. It means no. When we say bracha, the first 7 days of Isai, when we say the first 7 days have bracha and the 8th day has bracha, that's referring to Yalav Yavai. I need everybody, please, Rabbi Isai. We're having 2-3 guys that are missing. Everybody has to compensate. My lav's man. The Gemara says, "Loi berchas hamazon." The Gemara says, "Berchas hamazon utfilah." The Gemara says, "Berchas hamazon utfilah." Berchas hamazon utfilah means yalav v'yavoy. So you have no raya that it's shechianu. Really, it's yalav v'yavoy. Good. So the statement we're analyzing is just like the first 7 days you have bracha. What does that bracha mean? Not shechianu like we thought. Yalav Yavai, so to the 8th day has Yalav Yavai, its own mentioning. Hachinami Mistavra, says the Gemara. Hachinami Mistavra. This is logical. Hachinami Mistavra.
Don't put it. I'm not putting it in there.
Hachinami
I'm
mistabro.
waiting for a call.
Hachinami mistabro.
Luggage. Shut the fuck
Hachinami mistabro. This is Shh. Chaim, please, Reb Chaim, I need, please, Rabbi say, Chevron. Hachinami mistabro. This is logical, says the Gemara. The isal kadaitach zman. If you really thought it meant shechianu, make a dash. Zman kol shiva mi'ika. Do you have shechianu for the first 7 days? Of course not. It must be that what? It's Yalav Yavoy. Good? You masking Avrami? The statement was just as the first 7 days have bracha on this last one. If it means Shechianu, you don't have bracha. The Gemara says, like kasha, no.
No, but maybe you meant that all 7 days it's possible.
Oh, okay, exactly. Like kasha, that's not a question. Dash, the Eloi Barucha Inna, it means that if you don't make Shechianu on the first day, Mivarch Lamacha, you make a bracha on the next day, or on another day. So when we made the statement, so really it could be Shechianu, right? Really could be Shechianu. And when it says 7 days bracha, what does that mean? Possible.
Like 2
What did
years
we say the
ago.
bracha meant earlier?
We want to say it's a right.
No, on Memvav.
Oh, you're right. There was mentioning, right.
Right. When we,
That was Basukkah, yeah.
There's no bracha. No.
It can mean Yalav Yava, you're right. Yalav Yava, exactly. So now look, Rabbi Sai. So Rabbi Sai, it could still be, I'm sure, it's good, this is really it. It could still be Shechianu. We don't have a good raya that it meant Yalav Yava. You ask him? Says the Gemara, Mikol Mokayim, but still. Rabbi Sai, please, I beg to unfollow you. It's not possible, Rabbi Sai, to do it, and just for the sheer sake, we need a full, everyone giving it their all, please. Mikol Mokayim, but still, says the Gemara, Kais Be'inan. You need a kais for Shechianu.
What does that mean?
I'll tell you right now. When you make 1 second, you make a shechianu. The Gemara's this shita. The Gemara holds right now. When you make a shechianu, you need to do it on a kais. 1 second. Mikamakam says the Gemara kais be'inan. You need a kais for shechianu. You ready for this? You ready for this? A footnote here. Please, everybody, say have the footnote. Just it's so important. And people don't usually have wine accessible during Chol Hamoed.
Why not?
Wine was very scarce, so they made kiddush. Chol Hamoed, there was no wine. So you're telling me that it meant you could do shechianu on any day of sukkah, right? But if you can make a shechianu on Chol Hamoed, you need to have wine. You need to have a kais, and wine.
You can't make it on top?
Meaning, if you're telling me that this Bryce is talking about that really means shechianu. And it means if you don't do it on the first day, make it on Chol Hamoed. But how can you make it on Chol Hamoed? If you can do a Chol Hamoed, you need to have wine because the shechianu needs wine, and wine wasn't accessible in Chol
You
Hamoed.
can't do it on
It's
top?
only accessible in Yom Tov?
No, people only for Yom Tov they only got hold of 1 cup of wine, so they made kiddush. They made kiddush
So
on
the
it.
1 cup of wine, he didn't use it yet on Yom Tov.
No, but how do you make kiddush?
Without me?
You had to make kiddush on the first night of Yom Tov.
He
So
wasn't
let's
around
say-
the first night of Yom Tov, that's why I didn't make a shechianu.
No, but no. We're talking about a guy that forgot to make shechianu.
Oh, I Stan forgot?
Forgot to make
Which one is
shechianu.
that guy?
So his wife says, you know.
Wait, if you forgot to make a
I thought we're talking about a guy that
make a
pointed.
shechianu?
I thought we're talking about a guy that wasn't
on
in
the third of
Sukkah.
Yom Tov. That's what we're saying right
I
now.
thought only if he just didn't do kiddush. He don't.
No, he forgot shechianu. So make a shechianu on day 5.
How can you make a shechianu on day 5?
Yeah.
That's what
You're
saying.
5 days into Yom Tov.
No, shechianu is on the Yom Tov. So if you got to make shechianu, you can still make the
I
bracha.
thought that it was only.
I thought this whole discussion was about somebody that was out on the out. What would you say? Grazing or whatever.
No. That's
Separate
later.
halacha.
No. This separate halacha about shechianu. If you miss the first day, make a shechianu on the second day. If you miss the second day, you make a shechianu on the third day.
Huh.
So the Gemara is saying right now. Wait. So the Gemara is saying right now.
Is this the same? Is this a, that's a question though?
Sure.
Yom Tov is 7 days. Is this I'm not gonna lie, is that true?
No. I'll believe to discuss it tomorrow, Mishnah.
No, because let's say Hanukkah, you don't.
Exactly. Hanukkah, every mitzvah, we don't make a shechina. Exactly. Not only that, to tell you a great thing, we said you can make a shechina when you build in the sukkah. Remember, we discussed it when you're building it, you forgot it. So obviously, says the Gemara.
Even if you don't have wine, why can't you make it?
So it's this Gemara seems.
You know,
Yeah, exactly. You're saying if you don't have wine, you're right. That's a good shaila. You think that's a shaila. So everybody say, look at this, everybody say. Look at this, Rabbi Sai.
Nowadays, everyone gets a hold of wine.
So you're suggesting, Rabbi Sai, that really it is a shechianu. And what do you mean you make a shechianu all 7 days? If you miss the first day, make on the second day. The Gemara is asking right now, says the Gemara, and you need a kais for shechianu. And the footnote was, and people don't have wine accessible on Chalamoid. So how will you ever make a shechianu? Good? You're trying to say that we're still talking about shechianu. But shechianu needs a kais. And I'm saying, shechianu will happen on Chalamoid.
That's like a practical.
Oh, you're right. But
It's not like
I know it's an Ishikasha.
It's like halacha. The halacha you
exactly.
can't
So
make
you're right. So
shechianu.
Avrami, the Gemara is gonna address what you're saying. So the Gemara is gonna say, Lema Mesayeh Alei. Lema Mesayeh Alei. Can we bring a riot to Rav Nachman? The Omer Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says Zaman is shechianu. Oimra, you could say a Zaman Oimra. You could say a shechianu. Afil b'shuk, even in the marketplace, without a cup, without wine. If you want to tell me you need shechianu on Chalamoid, so is this a raya that you don't need wine? You're going to suggest, so maybe it's a raya that you could make a shechianu, you don't need wine. The amid be'ina kois, because if you say you need wine, a cup of wine, kama, kois kol yoima, mi'ika, do you have wine, kois kol yoima, do you have wine accessible every day? Question mark? This is really the most question.
Depends on the person.
Is this a shechianu? But shechianu need to have a cup of wine. People don't have wine. If it is,
Baron Herzog.
it's second. Hold on. So maybe it's a raya. Rabbi say maybe it's a raya that you don't need a cup of wine because you need a cup of wine. How can you make a shechianu? Says the Gemara. Avrami's teretz. Dilma. Perhaps we're talking about the ikla leikais. Dilma. Perhaps the ikla leikais. He got a hold of a cup of wine. Practically, the Gemara is saying you could make a shechianu all 7 days. You want to say he needs wine? How's he going to have wine? You're right.
Magically appears.
You're right.
So
You're
it
right.
has to 8 days.
No. No. You don't have a raya. You really need to have wine. So people don't have wine on Chalamoid. So how can there be a raya? You found wine. So exactly. Go back. I want to tell you something. You should know. I want to tell you something. I did hear this in different shurim or reading it somewhere. When I learned the Gemara in Arabic Psachim, the Gemara Arabic Psachim discussed if you don't have wine, Mamish discussed this, and I remember hearing it that people did not have wine. One second, hold on. So much so, I was trying to tell you something once.
But doesn't
They
have to
grew
be
grapes in their backyard,
in
no?
Medina?
They did not. I'm trying to remember where I heard. I remember a specific thing. People did not. I'll we'll try to find where I saw that. Wine was extremely scarce. By the way, mamish was very hard to get a hold of. So much so. There was there's stories. There's many stories about Gedolim that had cups that were the smallest size sheer, because they used the smaller size because you could not get a hold of. I'm remembering this that I saw that it says to the kids, give them something else. Don't give them wine. Wine. How can you give wine to the kids? There's only a small amount of wine. I'm gonna have to drink it. You have 4 ounces of wine. Mamish, that's what they had in the so this is.
Wait, so what did they do on Pesach?
At that Gemara Arabic Psachim is that the whole discussion when they do the Seder.
I'm saying here they can't even find one kais in Pesach.
I'm saying you're right. The Gemara there, I'm forgetting.
You have to sell.
People had to,
No, that's not
that's a famous story that who came to one of the Gedolim of Chaim Briscoe, who was that says, can you do the kaises with milk, right? That's famous things. Wine was not what it is right now. Now for $4, you buy like the cheap Kedem wine, a gallon of it.
Concord Kal.
Baruch we have that, and we have more than that, like Thursday night. So Rabbi say the Gemara concludes. Okay, that's it.
Can you explain the Mesele again?
What? Yes. 1 second. Rabbi say outside. 1 minute. Outside. Rabbi say. The Gemara says. Avrami, 1 minute. 1 minute. The Gemara says. The Gemara says that it has to be. I want to just step by step. Just to get step by step this Gemara. The Gemara says it has to be that we're talking about. The Gemara says bracha means shechianu. No, it means al yalav yavai. Because if it was shechianu, can you make a shechianu all 7 days? You don't make a shechianu. You don't make a shechianu all 7 days. The Gemara says no. If you miss one day, you make on the second day. So really, it is a shechianu. So if it is shechianu, we have another problem. Shechianu needs a kais. People, and you don't have a cup of wine during Chalamoid. Should we say that this is a raya that maybe you don't need a cup of wine for shechianu? Leiva Mesayeh to Rav Nachman that you don't need a cup of wine for shechianu. Because if you need a cup of wine, shechianu, you know, Rav Nachman holds that you can make shechianu in the shuk without a cup of wine. So, because if you need a cup of wine, there's no way you can make a shechianu on a chalamoid. The Gemara says, no, you're right, but we're talking about where he got a hold of it. No. So it is talking about shechianu, and he got a hold of it. And once more, Gemara Rabbi Say says the Gemara, V'savar Rabbi Yehuda. Does Yehuda hold Shmini, the 8th day, Ta'on Ulina? Do you remember Rabbi Say? We said that just like the 7th day has 4 things. You sure remember the 4 things? Bracha, carbon, shear, and Lina. Lina was sleeping over. Now the Gemara is jumping to something new. The Sab Rabbi Yehuda, does Yehuda hold Shemini, the 8th day, Ta'on and Lina? It needs sleeping over. V'hatanya, but we learned in a Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda says, Minayin lePesach Sheni. How do you know that Pesach Sheni, She'enei Ta'on Lina, that it doesn't need a sleepover? Which means that when you bring the first carbon Pesach, you need to sleep over that night, after the first night of Yom Tov, you got to sleep in Yerushalayim. And the Gemara is asking, Rabbi Yehuda says that the 8th day of, I'm sorry, let me back up one step. The Gemara said, Rabbi Yehuda said, right yesterday, Rabbi Yehuda said that the 8th day needs Lina. So the Gemara says, did Rabbi Yehuda really hold that? Let's see. The Gemara has, the Rabbi Yehuda himself says, how do you know the Pesach Sheni doesn't need Lina? I mean, the first Pesach you bring, the carbon Pesach, you of course you need to sleep over. But someone who wasn't able to bring carbon Pesach, he was Tamei, and now he's bringing it a month later. And now, how do you know that when he brings the carbon Pesach, he doesn't need to do the whole process of sleeping over? Shinamar is because the pasuk says about the carbon Pesach. Ufanisa b'bayker, in quotes, you will turn back in the morning, v'alachta lo'alacha, and you'll go back to your tents, which means in the morning you go back, you sleep over. V'ksiv, and it says right next to this, sheishes yamim teichel matzos. 6 days you should eat matzos. Make a dash, and we analyze. If the pasuk says you should sleep over, right? And next to that pasuk, Shua, it says you should eat matzah for 6 days. So we say which a day that needs matzah for 6 days, that's the day you should do a sleepover. Whichever day doesn't need matzah for 6 days, whichever holiday does not need matzah for 6 days, you shouldn't sleep over. It says sleep over, and then it says eat matzah for 6 days. Whichever yom that needs the matzah part, the 6 days of matzah, that needs sleepover. Says the Gemara, and this is the explanation here. S, make a dash. S shaton shisha. The yom that needs matzah for six days of matzah, dash, ta'on lina, that needs a sleepover. Es she'enei ta'on shisha, that yom which doesn't need 6 days of matzahs, einei ta'on lina, that doesn't need a sleepover. Make a dash. Num'ute mai, what are we coming to exclude? We're obviously coming to exclude something, right? Which holiday are we coming to exclude?
It can't be Shmini Atzeres because what about the rest of Sukkot? There's no matzah there.
So watch this. Lav lem'ute, watch this. Lav lem'ute, nami shmini shachag. Will we not also exclude the 8th day of Sukkot? Lav lem'ute, nami, meaning, what does nami mean? Meaning, watch this, in addition to Pesach Sheni. Meaning Pesach Sheni, of course. So 1 second, hold on. Lav lem'ute nami shmini shachag. Are we do not also want to exclude Shmini Atzeres? Shmini Atzeres, right? Because Shmini Atzeres doesn't have matzah. The Gemara answers, no. Oh, and that would be a good. And 1 second, hold on. 1 second. You ready for this, Rabbi Say? So a question mark on the side. A question on Rabbi Yehuda. You see, write this on the side. You see. And this would be a raya that you don't need sleepover on the 8th day, right? And this would be a raya you don't need to sleep over on the 8th day. Masking, I'm sure. This would be a raya. Before you masking, this would be a raya. So right over here, raya that you don't need to sleep over on the 8th day. Loi, no. Lem'ute Pesach Sheni. It's only coming to exclude Pesach Sheni, the Kabasei, which is similar. We're talking about Pesach. We're only coming to exclude something that's similar to Pesach. We're not coming to exclude the Yom Tov.
Why is it speaking of there would be a kasha on
the 6th day of Sukkot? Because Sukkot it says clearly you have to sleep over. So it can't be that. And maybe it's to exclude that. Now Rabbi say, okay, Rabbi say, the last line, Hachinam Mistabra. This is logical, that it's only excluding Pesach Sheni. Hachinam Mistabra, it's logical to say that it's why? The Tanan, because we learned in the Mishnah, Bikurim to unin carbon. Bikurim needs a carbon, the shear, and it also needs shear. 4 things. When you bring Bikurim, you have to bring a carbon along with it, because that increases the simcha. You need to have a certain song that they have. V'tnufa and waving. The Bikurim is the first fruits of your growth, and you have to bring it and to the Kohanim, and you have to wave it over there. And also it needs lina. Now let's think for a second. Velina, okay? Mat shamet lei. Who's the one that says the Amar Tenufa that it needs Tenufa? Meaning, who says this brisa? Who says this brisa? Who's the author of this brisa? Rabbi Huda. The same Rabbi Huda we just had about the 6 days of matzah. V'ka Amar, and he says Ta'un Lina. And he says it needs a sleepover, even though Rabbi Shua, it doesn't have 6 days of matzah. So clearly, that Russia of 6 days of matzah is not excluding Shmini Atzeres, because it would be excluding Shmini Atzeres, it would also exclude Bikurim. And right, because does Bikurim have 6 days of matzah? Bikurim no shaykhs to matzah.
How can lina be attached to matzah?
Because it says
No, I understand the pasuk, but how could we attach lina to matzah for all them?
You're right. There's no. You're right. You're bothered. It doesn't even make sense. So 1 second. If you say that you need to sleep over by Bikurim, that means clearly you don't need anything to do with matzah. Does everyone agree to that? Rafali Maskim? If you need to sleep over by Bikurim, you don't need anything to do with matzah. The Tanya is wrote in a brisa. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, v'hinach. You know what? I want to stop right here. Let's stop over here. Let's stop over here. Tomorrow, Mishnah will go right there. I hope by tomorrow, Mishnah will have.